When news broke that a judge's ruling had been filed in connection with a financial dispute involving the Roloff family's circle, fans didn't think much of it. Legal filings are common in the world of reality TV stars: contracts, royalties, business disagreements. But what happened next changed everything. Within days, court insiders leaked that the case involved Amy Roloff's husband, Chris Marek. The details were vague, but the language, financial misconduct, undisclosed earnings, and potential coercion was enough to send shockwaves through the little people, big world community. At first, it seemed impossible. Chris, the man who entered Amy's life after years of heartbreak, had always appeared calm, gentle, and genuine. Their love story was meant to be a fresh start, a chance for Amy to finally find peace after her painful divorce from Matt Roloff. But according to several online reports and speculation within fan circles, a judge's review of certain financial records uncovered irregularities connected to shared assets, business filings, and potential ownership transfers between Amy and Chris. That's when whispers of a blackmail plan began to circulate. According to online speculation and what fans are calling the Marek files, this wasn't just about hidden money, it was about leverage. Sources claimed that Chris allegedly had access to private information about Amy's post-divorce finances, particularly details surrounding her payout from Roloff Farms and her earnings from TLC's Little People, Big World. The shocking theory: Chris might have used that knowledge to gain control over shared investments or to pressure Amy into signing off on certain business deals she didn't fully agree with. No one knows exactly what those deals entailed, but the pattern fans noticed was eerie. Shortly after their wedding, Chris began taking a more active role in public appearances, brand endorsements, and property projects. Amy's once solo ventures, including her cookbook promotions and motivational speaking, seemed increasingly co-managed. For a woman who once prided herself on independence, this shift was significant. Was Amy being manipulated behind the scenes? Some fans pointed to her hesitant body language in interviews and carefully worded responses about finances as subtle signs that all was not well. Others believe she may have discovered something herself, something that led to the legal motion that brought this entire situation into the light. Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. For Roloff family latest news update, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. The turning point came with a judge's ruling that no one in the Little People, Big World fandom could have anticipated. According to multiple online reports and discussions circulating in fan communities, the decision wasn't just procedural, it was explosive. The case, which had quietly moved through the local Oregon court system, reportedly stemmed from questions surrounding financial management, joint assets, and possible conflicts between Amy Roloff and her husband, Chris Marek. Fans first started to take notice when whispers began about a judge ordering the release of specific financial documents connected to the couple's shared ventures, including property titles, shared accounts, and perhaps even agreements involving Amy's post-TLC business activities. The ruling itself, sources claim, was unusually aggressive, suggesting that the court saw enough inconsistencies to demand a deeper look into the paper trail. At the heart of it all was a question that rocked the fan base. What exactly did the court uncover? Online speculation immediately ran wild, with theories that the documents contained personal emails and transaction records that could expose a darker side to Chris's relationship with Amy. Some claimed that those materials revealed messages hinting at tension between the couple, discussions about money, trust, and control, conversations that, if true, painted a very different picture than the loving bond fans saw on social media. According to these fan theories, the ruling may have inadvertently pulled back the curtain on Chris's alleged intentions. Some online insiders went as far as to suggest that he had been strategically positioning himself to gain access to Amy's assets, particularly the profits tied to her cookbook sales, online ventures, and her stake in the Roloff Farms brand name, which still carries immense recognition. The idea that he could have been using emotional leverage to secure financial advantage sent shockwaves through the community. For years, Amy Roloff had been seen as the emotional heart of Little People, Big World, the woman who endured heartbreak, picked herself up, and found love again after her painful split from Matt Roloff. Her remarriage to Chris Marek was celebrated as a storybook ending, a moment of peace after years of public scrutiny. So when news of this ruling broke, it felt like the ground shifted beneath longtime viewers. Reddit threads, Facebook groups, and TLC fan pages lit up with debate. Some refused to believe any of it, fiercely defending Chris, calling the rumors exaggerated or fabricated by tabloids hungry for clicks. Others, however, said they felt something had been off for months, pointing to subtle signs in Amy's recent appearances. Her quieter tone in interviews, her shorter social media captions, or her noticeable absence from couple-centered content. Amid the speculation, a few legal watchers following the case closely described the judge's move as an unusually forceful decision for a domestic financial review. They noted that this kind of ruling typically only happens when there's significant uncertainty about how money is being handled, or when someone raises credible concerns that assets might not be fully transparent. As these details spread, fans began piecing together their own timelines. Some claimed the first red flags appeared months ago when Amy stopped referencing shared investments with Chris. Others recalled subtle hints that she might have been distancing herself emotionally or even preparing for some kind of legal separation. The phrase "the truth revealed" started trending among fan discussions, capturing the sense that this was more than just a financial matter, it was an emotional reckoning. To many, this ruling represented a symbolic shift in Amy's story. The woman who once fought for independence on the Roloff farm was now, perhaps, confronting another betrayal, but this time behind closed doors. Still, as the rumor mill churned, others urged caution. Without an official statement or confirmed court records made public, everything remained in the realm of speculation. But that didn't stop the emotional divide among fans. Some stood by Amy, expressing heartbreak that her peace might be at risk once again. Others, still hopeful, believed that whatever had been revealed might actually bring clarity and closure, a chance for Amy to protect herself from repeating old patterns. In short, the judge's ruling did more than raise legal questions. It cracked open the carefully maintained image of one of TLC's most beloved couples, forcing fans to reconsider everything they thought they knew about Amy and Chris's relationship. And as online insiders continued to describe the court's actions as unusually aggressive, hinting at deeper, more complex financial entanglements than the public ever realized, the world of Little People, Big World suddenly felt a lot less little and far more complicated. As the dust began to settle from the judge's ruling, fans of Little People, Big World started noticing something strange, whispers and cryptic clues that painted a far darker picture of Amy Roloff's marriage than anyone could have imagined. What was once celebrated as a fairytale love story, Amy finally finding peace and companionship with Chris Marek, has now become the center of an unsettling rumor: blackmail. It started small. Sharp-eyed fans began connecting dots through Amy's own social media activity. A few subtle posts, messages about trust, boundaries, and hard lessons, seemed unusually reflective, even heavy. In one recent live stream, Amy appeared emotional when asked about her marriage, pausing before saying that not everything is perfect behind closed doors. To many longtime viewers, that hesitation spoke volumes. It was enough to make people wonder, was Amy hiding something painful? Then came the alleged pattern. Fan forums and Reddit threads began to light up with speculation that Chris might have discovered something private, something deeply personal about Amy's finances, book deals, or even her correspondence with TLC executives. Some theorized that he may have stumbled across old legal documents or emails tied to her divorce from Matt Roloff, material that could be embarrassing if taken out of context. Others claimed he might have gained access to financial records or royalty statements from Amy's cookbook business or motivational speaking ventures. The darkest claim, that Chris allegedly used that information to manipulate situations in his favor, perhaps to secure a stronger financial position, a share in her ventures, or even leverage in personal disagreements. None of this has been confirmed, of course, but the timing raised eyebrows. The blackmail rumors exploded right after Amy's name appeared in connection with new court filings, reportedly related to business licensing and property management linked to Roloff farms. The shift in Amy's demeanor was hard to ignore. Fans who had always described her as open and bubbly began commenting on how she now seemed guarded, more careful, even afraid to say too much. Some noted that her Instagram captions, once full of gratitude and enthusiasm, had taken on a strangely distant tone. The warmth was still there, but layered with tension, as though she was writing for an audience she no longer fully trusted. What really shocked viewers was the contrast, how quickly the story of a loving husband became something darker. This was the same Chris Marek who once stood beside Amy under twinkling lights, holding her hand as they exchanged vows in front of friends, family, and millions of viewers. The same man who comforted her through the pain of leaving the Roloff farm and rebuilding her life. To even imagine that he could be involved in something as manipulative as blackmail felt like a betrayal, not just to Amy, but to the fans who believed in their love. Online, reactions have been emotional and divided. Some fans refuse to believe the rumors, insisting that Amy and Chris are just facing normal marital struggles amplified by fame. But others see too many coincidences to ignore the timing of the court appearances, the emotional interviews, and Amy's subtle withdrawal from the spotlight. To them, it feels like a pattern, one that points to a power struggle quietly unfolding behind the scenes. And perhaps that's what makes this situation so heartbreaking. For years, viewers watched Amy overcome the heartbreak of her divorce from Matt Roloff, the pain of infidelity rumors, the loss of her home, and the uncertainty of starting over. They celebrated when she found happiness again, believing that Chris represented a new beginning, stability, understanding, and unconditional love. Now, to see those dreams clouded by whispers of control, manipulation, and betrayal cuts deeply. It's a painful reminder of how fragile trust can be, especially when fame, money, and emotion collide. Fans who once rooted for Amy's happily ever after are now left questioning everything. Was the love genuine, or was it all part of something much darker? As this chapter unfolds, one thing is certain: the illusion of a perfect marriage has been shattered. What remains is uncertainty, sorrow, and a haunting question that fans can't shake. What really happened between Amy Roloff and Chris Marek, and how much of it was love and how much was leverage? For longtime fans of Little People, Big World, Amy Roloff's story has always been one of resilience. A woman who's rebuilt herself time and time again after heartbreak, public scrutiny, and personal trials. But this latest chapter, the alleged blackmail scheme involving her husband Chris Marek, has left many wondering how much more she can endure. Those who have followed Amy's online presence noticed something almost immediately after the rumors began to swirl: a sudden, uncharacteristic silence. Amy, usually so warm and open with her fans, sharing recipes, glimpses of her home life, or motivational messages about faith and perseverance, seemed to withdraw. Days passed without updates. And when she did return, her posts were noticeably different: shorter captions, subdued photos, and the kind of reflective tone that made fans stop and read between the lines. One post in particular sparked a wave of speculation. It featured a simple photo of Amy's backyard at sunset, with a caption that read, "Sometimes peace comes from walking away quietly." To many, this wasn't just poetic reflection, it was a message. A sign that Amy may be processing a deep emotional wound, and doing it the way she always has, with quiet dignity rather than public confrontation. Fans couldn't help but feel a painful sense of déjà vu. This wasn't the first time Amy had faced betrayal rumors under the glare of the spotlight. Years earlier, her marriage to Matt Roloff unraveled in front of millions, and the emotional scars from that time were evident in her interviews and memoirs. She had spoken openly about how hard it was to trust again, how love, when it fails so publicly, leaves behind a kind of fragility that takes years to mend. And now, seeing her face yet another wave of hurt, this time allegedly from someone she believed was her safe harbor, has stirred deep empathy across the LPBW fanbase. Viewers are drawing parallels between her current silence and the emotional stillness she showed during the final years of her marriage to Matt. It's as if Amy's learned that sometimes, saying nothing speaks louder than anything else. Inside sources close to the Roloff family have hinted that Amy's loved ones are worried, not only about the public attention, but about how she's coping behind the scenes. Fans speculate that her children, particularly Zach and Jeremy, may have reached out privately. Zach, known for being the more grounded and family-oriented of the Roloff sons, has always expressed deep admiration for his mom's strength. But intriguingly, neither he nor Jeremy has publicly commented on the recent controversy. That silence has only fueled fan discussions further. Some believe the Roloff siblings have chosen to support their mother quietly, away from cameras and comments. Others wonder if the complicated family dynamics, especially given their own strained relationships, make it difficult for them to get involved publicly. Whatever the case, Amy's fans have filled that silence with compassion. Across her social media platforms, comments pour in by the hundreds. Messages like "Stay strong, Amy, you've been through worse," and "You are loved no matter what's happening behind the scenes" fill her posts. Many fans see Amy not just as a reality TV personality, but as a symbol of endurance, someone who, even in heartbreak, refuses to let bitterness define her. And perhaps that's what stands out most in this chapter of Amy's life. While others might lash out or make public statements, Amy seems to be channeling her energy inward, focusing on preserving her dignity, protecting her assets, and safeguarding her peace. Some reports suggest that she's begun quietly reviewing her business and financial interests, ensuring her independence remains secure no matter what happens next. For a woman who rebuilt her entire life after leaving Roloff Farms, this would be a natural step, not out of fear, but wisdom. Fans have noticed subtle changes, too. Amy, been seen spending more time with close friends like her best friend Lisa, and focusing on her cooking ventures and online store. It's as though she's reclaiming her own narrative, turning away from the whispers and focusing instead on what she can control. Yet behind that calm exterior, there's an undeniable current of pain. People close to Amy describe her as deeply reflective in recent weeks, choosing to process everything privately before making any public move. Those who have watched her journey over the years know that when Amy goes quiet, it's rarely about defeat, it's about strength gathering in silence. Through it all, the public perception of Amy Roloff remains overwhelmingly positive. Even those who once criticized her decisions are now rallying behind her, united by admiration for the way she carries herself, with grace, humility, and authenticity. Whether or not the allegations against Chris Marek ever prove true, one thing is certain. Amy's unshakable dignity in the face of turmoil has only deepened her legacy as one of TLC's most beloved and respected figures. Because in the end, Amy Roloff's story isn't just about love or loss, it's about resilience. About choosing peace over drama, truth over noise, and silence over spectacle. And for fans who have followed her for nearly 2 decades, this moment, this quiet strength, is why Amy remains not just a reality TV star, but a real-life inspiration. The aftermath of these shocking revelations has sent ripples far beyond Amy and Chris's marriage. It's shaken the very foundation of Little People, Big World. For nearly 2 decades, the Roloff family has been TLC's symbol of resilience, love, and overcoming adversity. But now, with allegations of manipulation, financial deceit, and emotional betrayal swirling around, fans are beginning to wonder, has the magic finally faded? This situation doesn't just touch Amy Roloff's personal life. It casts a long shadow over the entire Roloff legacy, one that the family has spent years building in front of millions of viewers. What was once seen as a wholesome, heartfelt reality show about love and perseverance is now being questioned through a darker lens. Viewers are starting to ask, how much of what we saw was real? Behind the scenes, industry insiders speculate that TLC might be forced to take drastic measures. Will the network step in to manage the fallout, perhaps by suspending filming, halting production temporarily, or re-editing upcoming episodes to soften the blow? Or will they do what reality TV often does, lean into the controversy, using the tension to draw viewers back? Some reports even suggest that the network's executives are debating how to move forward, aware that one wrong move could either destroy or completely reboot the franchise. If history is any indication, TLC has weathered Roloff storms before: Matt and Amy's painful divorce, the bitter dispute over Roloff Farms, and the ongoing rifts between siblings. But this time the tone feels different. The heartbreak isn't just about property or relationships, it's about trust. Fans who once saw Chris Marek as the steady, caring husband who helped Amy rebuild her confidence after her divorce are now questioning everything. Social media has become a war zone of opinions. Where once Chris's posts were flooded with hearts and kind words, the comments now tell a different story. Fans are openly calling him out, labeling him as manipulative, calculating, and even predatory. Meanwhile, petitions have started circulating online, with some viewers demanding that TLC issue an official statement about the allegations or offer Amy her own spin-off, one that allows her to reclaim her narrative and rebuild her life on her own terms. There's also growing speculation that Little People, Big World could pivot entirely, shifting its focus toward Amy's new chapter, her children's independent lives, or even a fresh start that redefines what the Roloff legacy means. The show has always balanced moments of hope against real-life hardship, but if these allegations are true, it might mark the first time that the line between reality and reality TV completely collapses. For longtime fans, this feels like déjà vu. They remember the pain of Matt and Amy's split, the tension over Roloff Farms, and the emotional fallout that played out for years. But this feels more intimate, more human, and far more devastating. It's not just about a marriage ending, it's about a betrayal that cuts to the core of what the show represented. And perhaps in that raw honesty lies the show's tragic beauty. Little People, Big World has never been about perfection. It's about imperfection, struggle, and survival in the spotlight. What we're witnessing now is the latest, and perhaps most powerful, reminder of that truth. Because when fame and fortune intertwine with family, the lines blur. Private pain becomes public spectacle. Every smile for the camera hides a story, every success comes with sacrifice, and every episode filmed becomes part of a legacy, both inspiring and heartbreaking. In the end, this chapter may redefine not just Amy Roloff's journey, but the entire Roloff family's place in reality television history. The question remains, will they rise from this crisis stronger than before, or will this be the scandal that finally breaks the Roloff name apart forever? As fans continue to debate, one thing is certain, the story of the Roloffs is no longer just a show. It's a reflection of what happens when love, loyalty, and fame collide, and the fallout is as real as it gets. As the dust settles around the shocking judge's ruling, one thing has become clear. It didn't just reveal possible financial misconduct. It peeled back the curtain on years of emotional tension and hidden fractures within the Roloff family. What began as whispers of manipulation and betrayal has now transformed into a full-blown reckoning, forcing everyone involved to confront painful truths they once tried to bury under smiles and scripted reality moments. For Amy Roloff, this chapter has been both devastating and defining. Through heartbreak, humiliation, and public scrutiny, she has continued to show the same quiet strength that made fans fall in love with her from the very beginning. Even when surrounded by betrayal and controversy, Amy's resilience stands as a powerful reminder that dignity doesn't come from avoiding pain, it comes from surviving it with grace. And in the end, the Roloff family's story is no longer just about farm life or fame, it's a lesson about the cost of trust, the fragility of love, and the heavy price that reality TV can exact on real people. Behind every episode and every headline are human hearts, still trying to heal. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.